Mary had a little lamb.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
This is it, Republicans. The election is here. Before you cast your ballot, take a look at your sons. Is this the kind of man you want for their role model?
Watermelon, he looks like a watermelon head. I don't know what I said. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you.
Before you cast your ballot, take a look at your daughters. Is this how you want them to think women should be treated?
Hey, when you're a star, they let you do it. Grab them by the...
You acknowledge that you didn't think...
Keep your voice down, please. Keep your voice down.
Before you cast your ballot, take a look at your parents. Is this how you want their government to treat them?
We now know the disease. It affects elderly people, virtually nobody.
If you were to be reelected, the Social Security Fund would be depleted as early as 2023.
Before you cast your ballot, take a look in the mirror. Is this a movement you want to be a part of?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Parents and children separated by the Trump administration.
The party of Trump has shown you who they are, over and over and over. It's time for you to show us who you are.
This is it, baby. The moment of truth. After 20,000 lives, a moment of truth. I hope we have, a prolonged moment of truth. Wow. So today is the big day, to be followed by many more big days as the counts come rolling in. Now, I got to tell you, after 20,000 lies, I hope we have many moments of victory. I hope we have many moments of joy coming to us. But I have to tell you this. This is really, really simple. I'm looking at the polls. It's really super tight. It's really super tight. It's like tied in Arizona, 48-48. Pennsylvania, you got Biden ahead by 5 points, but that's within the margin of error. Florida, Biden is ahead about 2-3 points, but that is within the margin of error. However, if Georgia, if Florida, if Arizona, if North Carolina, and I don't mean we need all of them, just one of them, goes blue tonight, and Florida counts early, and we'll know something from Georgia tonight. We may or may not know enough from North Carolina tonight. But if one of those, flips over from the Trump column to the Biden column, which isn't unheard of. No, it's not. Florida voted for Obama twice. Georgia went for Bill Clinton in 1992, I guess, right? It isn't unheard of. It is totally doable. And if one of those goes to Biden, the path for Donald Trump is nary visible. Do you know, it's like going to be a long, dark night of him barricaded inside the White House with 400 of his donors, while Joe Biden is still out stumping along with Kamala Harris. Joe Biden just wrapped up, he was just on the street in Philly, talking to people on the street, telling them all that's possible, giving the optimistic message of sunny days can be ours, and they can, in Philly.
We have an enormous opportunity as a country. I don't mean just my being elected. We have an enormous opportunity. I want everybody to understand, the public nationwide has figured it out. Not only are we going to be able to overcome this virus by taking some smart moves, but for real, we're going to do it. But secondly, we're going to rebuild the middle class. And by the way, the middle class built this country and unions built the middle class. And thirdly, I promise you this, although I'm running as a proud Democrat, if you elect me, I'm going to be an American president. There's going to be no red states or blue states, just the United States of America.
So there's opportunity, or there's more of this. And what is this? What is this? Okay. Well, let's see. We have stores boarded up across this country. D.C. is boarded up. L.A. is boarded up. Rodeo Drive is boarded up. You've got Walmart stopping the sale of weapons in some of their stores. You have New York City starting to board. We could have lots of that. We could have more boarding up. We could have more divisiveness. We could have more job loss. We could have more COVID. We could have an economic decline. We could have no vaccine. It's election day, right? And it was supposed to be a vaccine. He was going to come down, remember? He was going to come down the golden escalator, and he was going to have a golden syringe, and it was going to have the cure for COVID in the golden vaccine. We don't have a vaccine. We don't have one. He promised one. That was a lie. He says there are therapeutics. However, there aren't any. There aren't any. You can't get Regeneron, which is what he claims he took, in order to beat COVID in 2 days. I don't even believe that he had it anymore, but I can't prove one way or the other, nor do I really give a damn, okay? I know there are no therapeutics for ordinary people. I know that. I know hospitalizations are increasing every single day by tens of thousands of hospitalizations, okay? I know the cases are doubling weekly in this country. He's done nothing, absolutely nothing. There's been no decrease. There's been, the only state that's doing okay is like Hawaii. Everybody, North Dakota inundated. New York just put, a quarantine restriction on people coming into the state again. Howard's got a new grandbaby, right? A grandson, Jesse. And he saw him when he was born, and that's it. And the kid is almost a year old at this point. That's how pathetic this country is. We are not free to move freely about the country while they stand there and scream about freedom. Freedom's on the ballot. Freedom. No, autocrats are on the ballot versus unions, versus collective bargaining, versus a middle class being rebuilt. The economy. Listen, you know why he doesn't talk about it? Because everybody was very hip to this little lie that he tried to tell the other day. He said, oh, look at GDP. It increased, astronomical. We increased GDP by 33%. That's never been done before. That's because GDP has never decreased by 33% before. So in the second quarter, it decreased by 33%. So here's the little simple math for you guys, okay? If you had $100 and you lost 33% of it, what would you have? $66, $67? I'm just doing this in my head. Okay, and then if you had your $66 or $67 and it increased by 33%, guess what? You'd still be 11% short. And that's where we are, minus 11%. Jobs lost, 10.7 million. How many unemployed? 25 million. No October surprise. In fact, no Obamagate. No Biden pedophilia photos. No Biden scandal at all. No laptop. Nothing. It's all a lie. He treats this like it's a reality show, and people tune in to see the reality TV star day after day after day. It's the freaking Truman Show on crack. That's not a president. That is a reality TV star playing a president, and everybody's got to make it end. So I'm begging Georgia, please, Georgia, don't leave the line. Stay in line. I just saw the wait time in Phoenix doesn't look bad at all. 45 minutes. 45 minutes in Phoenix. Because you know what? 102 million of us already voted. 66% of those, Democrats. So he is relying on his lunatic friends to show up today. I don't see long lines. I don't know if they're even going to show up today. I think maybe in these small towns, he was the entertainment, and that was it.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
across our country, you can feel that something is happening. In big cities and small towns, wearing masks and socially distancing, I have seen people lining the streets and gathering on corners to show their support. They're bringing the children, holding up signs, wearing their colors, and strolling to the polls. And waving the red, white, and blue. The energy out there is real, and it is inspiring. In this battle for the very soul of our nation, we have seen what can be, unburdened by what has been. We have seen who we are, and a willingness to fight for the country we love.
So, one precinct has already cast and counted their vote. Anybody? Right. Dixville Notch. Dixville Notch is a Republican rural white district. It is as much Trump country as any place in America. And here is how they voted.
I'm a lifelong Republican, voting for Joe Biden for president.
Oh.
I don't agree with him on a lot of issues, but I believe it's time to find what unites us, not what divides us. It's time to rebuild the heart of what makes us a great country. That starts with electing leaders of character who are truthful and who will put the country's welfare ahead of all else, and who will show respect for all people, regardless of their gender, their race, their religion, or their political beliefs. My vote today is meant to send a message to my fellow Republicans that our party can find its way back. It's time to return to the values a conservative party has held historically dear. Limited government, balanced budgets, support for working families, respect for personal rights, and historically being at the forefront of racial justice, dating back to when we were the party of Lincoln. Paradoxically, a Joe Biden presidency will allow us to refocus on core Republican values. And we can become the conservative party that can lead America to prosperity and greatness again.
So there you have it. All lily white, rural Republican, Dixville Notch, New Hampshire. They vote at midnight, like a minute after midnight on Election Day. And they voted 5-0 for Joe Biden. 5-0 for Joe Biden. Can we repeat those numbers nationwide and just have some sort of a restful evening? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be good? Yeah. It would make it a lot harder for Trump to steal the election if, it was 100% Biden, 0% Trump. And today, Joe Biden joked that he was ahead, and so maybe he should declare victory. Now, that was a joke, but Trump is not kidding. Trump is not kidding. God only knows what's in store for us tonight, and that's why I am so eager to see the states that have counted. Like today, I told you I usually vote on Election Day, but this one was so important, and with the COVID and all those other, pressures, I decided that I was going to use my mail-in ballot, and I was going to fill it out at home, and then I was going to go to the supervisor and drop it off, and that's what I did. I didn't use the mail, but I did drop it off in the supervisor of elections box. And then you can track your ballot here in Florida. You could track your ballot online, and I did. And this morning, lo and behold, my ballot was counted, and I felt great. I should have put my little sticker on, because they do give you a sticker when you drop off your ballot. But honestly, it felt so good to know that it was counted. And I'm telling you, if for some strange reason, Florida like I said, they've started counting. And they counted the early ballots, and tonight Florida closes, different parts of Florida close at different times, okay? So 7 o'clock is when this part of Florida that I'm in closes, and then a little portion of the Panhandle is in Central Time, so they'll close at 8 o'clock. But Florida will know its results tonight, and if Florida goes for Biden, and I'm telling you, it's really, really tight. But if Florida goes for Biden, right now, depending on what poll you're using, Quinnipiac poll has Biden up 47 and Trump 42. margin of error, 5 points. So, but if Florida is called for Joe Biden tonight, go to bed. Enjoy yourself. Just, have a great time, because there is no path for Donald Trump without repeating everything that he did in 2016. So unless, Arizona, it's just, here is all our paths. We have a lot of ways to do this.
What does Trump need to do to be...
that's Trump's. Where's mine?
Joe Biden's path is this one. First, hold the Clinton states. Right. Nevada, Colorado, Minnesota, New Hampshire. Make sure you hold those Clinton states from 2016. And then go to that blue wall that Donald Trump busted through, that Democrats before 2016 had held, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. And that does it. That gets Joe Biden there. And the reason I say that may be his easiest path, look at the average of the polls in those states. 52-42, Biden, Trump in Wisconsin. Average of the Michigan polls, a 9-point lead, 51-42. Pennsylvania closer, 50-44, Jake. That's why if Donald Trump were to hang on to Pennsylvania, then Joe Biden's at 258. This is what we mean by Joe Biden has multiple paths. Where would he go then if Donald Trump hangs on to Pennsylvania? Well, take a look at those Sunbelt states. Joe Biden is very much in the hunt. These are toss-up margin of error states, 50-46, 49-46 in Florida, Georgia 49-46, Arizona 49-46. But here's the thing. Joe Biden, if he were to take Florida, that does it. If Donald Trump held on to that, Joe Biden, he could take Georgia. That would do it, assuming he gets Michigan and Wisconsin, of course. North Carolina, if Joe Biden got it, that single state would do it.
Wow.
Let's say Donald Trump holds on to that. I mean, you could just see there are multiple paths for Joe Biden to 270.
Yes, and if Arizona goes for Biden, then really Donald Trump is locked out. He's locked out. If Florida goes for Biden, he's locked out. If Georgia goes for Biden, he's locked out. If Arizona's 48-48 from what I can tell, and it's just I can use any poll you like. I got them all. So you have Investors Business Daily. Why do I like that one? Because they got it right in 2016, and they have. They have Biden ahead by 5.1 points, 49-44. So, I mean, and, I want it in the bank. I want it called. I want it done. And the states that will know early are the states that could actually tell you could go to sleep. You don't need to wait for Pennsylvania. Now, Pennsylvania is telling us, okay, that there are 7 counties. They won't even begin to count till tomorrow, as I told you. But their Secretary of State is saying she will know who won Pennsylvania by the weekend. If you don't want to wait for the weekend, just go vote today in Florida. Just go vote today in Arizona. Just go vote today in Georgia, in North Carolina.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. What does Trump need to do to be reelected?
Yeah, well, let's go back to Donald Trump's 2016 map. That's what this is, Jake. And this is what he's looking to recreate. So this is what he needs to do. But let's say you just saw those Midwestern polls that Michigan and Wisconsin do indeed fall to Joe Biden, okay? And Pennsylvania as well. Let's say that blue wall is rebuilt just like Joe Biden has promised it will be. That brings Donald Trump down to 260. Where does he go next? He actually has to do something sort of defying more gravity in politics. Go to a Clinton state like Minnesota, and that would do it. Let's say Biden holds on there. Maybe a combination of Nevada and New Hampshire. That would do it. But if Donald Trump loses that blue wall that he broke through 4 years ago, he really has to dig into even deeper Democratic territory, places Hillary Clinton won 4 years ago.
So there's not a lot of ways for Donald Trump to get to 270, knowing that he is not going to keep intact Wisconsin. The polls have been like really, really stable because we have an unstable president. And the polls, the more unstable the president, the more stable the polls are. So the polls have been the same for a really long time, really long time. And they're not really changing all that much. So I'm going to use the Investors Business Daily polling because they got it right in 2016. Now, there are quality polls out today. There's Quinnipiac, there's Marist. There's a whole bunch of good polls out today, Ipsos. But I'm going to use the Investors Business Daily because they got it right in 2016. And their poll today finds Biden up by 20 points in blue states, Trump leading by 10 in red states. But in swing states, which is what we're talking about here, Joe Biden has a 7-point edge in the 6 states that were decided by less than 2 points in 2016. Okay, so what are we talking here? We're talking Florida, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, and New Hampshire. Now, if Biden pulls an upset in places like Arizona, which is why I'm harping on Arizona today, Iowa or North Carolina, it's over. Obviously, it's over. And Biden is up 7% in swing states. Now, like I said, the other polls show within the margin of error for states like Florida, not for Michigan, not for Wisconsin, not for Minnesota, but for places like Arizona, it's 48-48. So I'm begging you, please, this has got to end. It's enough. It really is enough. I mean, the boarding up because we're having an election. Do you think that we've never seen this before? Okay, we've never seen this before in anticipation of a post-election that is full of violence and mayhem and God knows what else. Will this become a regular part of American life? Well, that depends who wins today, doesn't it? Now, I mean, I have to tell you, the fact checking of this man especially the last few days with this flurry of ridiculous rallies that he had, the amount of lying he did in the Rust Belt, in the Midwest, to Michigan, to Pennsylvanians, it was off the charts, okay? It's off the charts. Here are the real numbers, okay? Here are the real numbers. In the 4 years that we've had Donald Trump, he has failed miserably. Instead of more good jobs, his ridiculous trade war, and is it over? Did we win? No, we did not. The trade deficit is at an all-time high right now, and we have lost markets. We have more plant closures. The Economic Policy Institute's research, and they track factories. They found 1,800 U.S. factories disappeared between 2016 and 2018. In Ohio, where it's very heavy on manufacturing, this trade war with China caused annual job growth to go from 36,200 a year in 2016 to 3,700 in 2019. Average earnings for an Ohio manufacturing worker declined under Donald Trump. In Michigan, Fiat Chrysler, General Motors, and Ford have all closed plants since Donald Trump became president of the United States. Auto companies, on the whole, reduced their investments in that state by almost 30% in the 3 years of Donald Trump's presidency, compared with the previous 3 years under Barack Obama. And where did those jobs go? Where did they go? They went to China. Donald Trump has been a great president for China. And I know he lies, and the rhetoric is exactly the opposite. And I'm sorry it's causing cognitive dissonance in your head. But the truth is that United States firms spent $14 billion building plants in China. That is more than they spent in 2016, the year that Donald Trump was elected. You know why? China has a climate initiative, And China is giving subsidies to pollution-reducing technologies. Donald Trump says climate change is a hoax. Joe Biden says climate change is an opportunity, and based on what China is taking from the United States with their climate initiatives and their subsidizing of clean energy and electric vehicles and hydrogen, they are killing us. And they are taking all of the U.S. building, the U.S. companies are going over to China for the subsidies for pollution-reducing technologies. So Donald Trump's been a great president for China. Also, in that 2017 tax bill, there was a little feature in it. And I've mentioned this a few times, but I want everybody to know this on Election Day. In 2017, there was a tax credit for offshoring your profits, for U.S. companies to offshore their profits. What they wrote into the 2017 tax bill, besides forgiving 85% of the wealth of this country to the top 1/10 of 1%, United States-based companies don't owe Uncle Sam anything on offshore profits up to a certain threshold. And then above that level, they owe a federal tax rate that is half of what they would pay on their domestic profits. And so they decided they could save on their IRS bills by shipping jobs overseas. Donald Trump literally incentivized General Motors to go get a tax break by shipping their jobs out of Ohio, out of Michigan, and into China and other countries. And that is exactly what they did. And so the people of Ohio, some of them who work in these industries, they know, like the Lordstown plant, they know they lost their jobs. Some in Michigan, they know they lost their jobs. But the ones who don't work in that industry, they don't know. They believe Trump, and he's lying.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
You know, we've worked very hard to bring it back. I met with Prime Minister Abe of Japan, great guy, since retired. He had a problem with health, but fantastic man. And I said, no, Shinzo, you have to send plants to Michigan. You have to send plants to the United States. And he said, no, I cannot do that. That is a private decision. I said, Shinzo, you're a powerful man. I'm sure you can do it. No. I said, you have to do it, Shinzo, because you're making too many cars, sending them here. We want them made in the United States. You have to do it. He says, well, I can't. The next day they announced there were 5 companies moving to Michigan and Japan. That was Japan. He's a great guy, that one, I'll tell you.
It never happened. It never happened. He's lying. And that's the creepy part, is right up to the end, these crazy rallies. I got to tell you, there were no... What we lost was Fiat Chrysler, General Motors, and Ford all closed their plants since Donald Trump became the president of the United States. We have lost 1,800 factories. Now, under Barack Obama, remember, the auto industry was in bankruptcy, right? And then they did a bailout of the auto industry. Some people were for it, some people were against it. But that's what Obama did, and it created 11,700 manufacturing jobs in Michigan and 45,300 auto parts manufacturing jobs. And it gained every year of the Obama presidency. This man is lying. This man lost jobs, and the people of Lordstown know it, and the people who work in manufacturing know it. I mean, it's just so bizarre, and people, stand there and cheer for him, and all he does is lie and misdirect. I mean, they got tax credits for offshoring their businesses. They literally invested $14 billion in China, and that was more than in 2016, the year Donald Trump was elected. And Tesla and General Motors led the pack. They made massive, massive investments in China in electric vehicle production because China is subsidizing pollution-reducing technology. Donald Trump says pollution-reducing technology is a hoax. That's what he says. And in that 2017 tax cut that he pushed through Congress in 2017, U.S.-based companies no longer had to pay the IRS on their offshore profits up to a certain level, and then beyond that level, they got a tax rate that was half of what they were paying before, and so it became very profitable to invest overseas. And that's how our jobs bled out to China. And that's why he praises China. And that's why he stands there and talks about President Xi, and he was very transparent on COVID and blah, blah, blah. And now he calls it the China virus because all is lost. He lost his trade war. Farmers lost their market. We lost manufacturing jobs. We lost factory jobs. And specifically, we lost them in Ohio and Michigan. I can't take it anymore. America deserves better and can do better. And that's the crazy part. The opportunities are staring you right in the face. Brother David.
It's the ripple, not the seed, that is happening. It's election day, sister.
Yeah,
the
you
beginning.
bastard. I know.
Yeah, it's really the beginning. I take great heart in the 5-0 split in that township. And I take very great heart. What was the poll that you're using? It's so dead on. The business one.
The Investors Business Daily?
Investors Business Daily, you bet. The thing, and here's the thing. It has lost the seniors. I know this on a daily basis with my Medicare beneficiaries. The polls have stayed, as you said, so consistent.
They have been.
Like in a way they weren't 4 years ago. And the early voting
I want
numbers.
people to remember this, okay? The
Yes,
early
please.
voting numbers are mind-blowing. But, that you could also say had a lot to do with his failure on COVID, which is another topic, okay? That's
Yes, indeed.
You got over 250,000 people dead, 232,000 dead, 10,000 more in the hospital this week than last week, okay? I mean, he's such a miserable failure. You got Debbie Burks running around trying to pass memos on the sly, right? He's on the stage calling Dr. Fauci an idiot and swearing he's going to fire him. I mean, This is crazy. Joe Biden is on the stump saying, good, if he fires Fauci, I'll hire him. I'll hire Fauci. But anyway, yes, he's lost seniors. He said the only people that are dying are seniors, and that's practically, they aren't anybody. He's lost women because their kids aren't in school. He's also lost women because he's coarse and he's evil and he's nasty and he's ugly and he's cruel, okay? The only people he has left are undereducated white guys who are the guys you never want to invite to your family get-togethers because they're the ones that can't keep their crap together and always ruin the good time for everybody else by picking a fight with somebody.
Bingo.
And that's what he's got left.
And that is maybe 1/3 of 1/3 that bothered to vote last time. There's still more of us. And the people are coming. The people are arriving. Chat room streamers, you know what to do. freespeechtv.org, randirhodes.com.
Oh, by the way, I'm going to do an extra hour today for Free Speech TV. So
fabulous.
Yeah, if you're listening some other way, like on the Progressive Voices Network, no. But on Free Speech and our YouTube, any channel that I control or Free Speech controls, we'll be here an extra hour.
It's a beautiful thing, sister.
Yeah.
Love you always.
I love you. Bob in Arizona.
Hi, Randy.
Hey, Bob.
How you feel? You feeling confident today?
I'm nervous. I have to tell you. I just want it over with. If it was, if it was in the bag, I would feel confident. But I won't be overconfident until I see one of those states flip. I want to see Arizona, your state, my state, Florida.
Let's talk about Arizona.
All right.
Arizona in 2018 voted for Kyrsten Sinema. In this session, they're going to vote for Mark Kelly. There's a pattern going.
Mark Kelly.
Yeah,
Mark Kelly does look good. I think he's up by 7.
Yeah, Mark Kelly's going to do great.
Yeah.
Arizona is turning blue. We're insecure because we're worried about 2016. But the pattern is there. The pattern is there.
Well, the consistency is also there, too. I mean, you look at 2018, what'd they lose, 40 seats?
Right.
Right. There was a big blue wave, so.
You see it coming, and you see it there. And you should trust you. I trust you. And I think that we should just look at Arizona as a swing state. I sent you
I do look at Arizona as a swing state. But you're there. What does it look like to you?
More Biden signs than Trump signs.
Yeah?
Yeah, more Biden signs. I count them every day. I drive around the neighborhood, and they were $10 a piece, and people still bought them, and they went out and they put them up. There are Trump flags, and they're obnoxious, and I even saw something on a Glendale corner, which I thought was interesting, and something that you talk about. On a Glendale corner on Bell Road, which is a busy road here, there was a Trump, I guess we'll just call it a demonstration, because it can't be a campaign event. And they said, honk if you want Trump, and some people did honk. A lot of people did not. And when the people didn't honk, the Trump supporters, when the light turned red, went out and banged on their windows and started yelling at people.
That's what I'm saying. These are the people you never want to invite to your party because they can't keep their crap together, and they ruin a perfectly good time every time. You know this guy. Everybody knows this guy. And that guy is a Trump guy. Not all of those guys are Trump guys, but the ones Trump has are that guy. They just want permission to be cruel. They want permission to be mean. They want permission to bang on your window. They want permission to ride around in their 4x4s with no muffler on it. I saw a guy today doing that with giant flags on his freaking black raised up F Ford 150 with the, no muffler on, just to annoy you. This is what they like. They like to annoy people. And Donald Trump gives them permission to be as annoying, even lawless. Some of them are violent, not all, but some of them are. Some of them are like ready to, shoot. They're ready to kill. We all know anybody that went to any of these rallies without a mask on, packed together like that, they're willing to die for him. I have never heard of a president that asks you to sacrifice your life for his reelection. It's very twisted. It's very unbelievable. Yet it's real. It's happening, and that is because we have a self-centered, cruel man who is nothing more than a reality TV host who lies to everybody every single day. He self-aggrandizes. He claims credit for things he doesn't know how to do, let alone does. I mean, if he knew how to do stuff, that would be great. He doesn't, and so he just lies about it, and he's also very lazy. The only thing he enjoys is being on a stage.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent
Doctor.
mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me. Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Dr. Anthony Fauci has served as director for the National Institute of Infectious Diseases since 1984. He has served the American people tirelessly, honorably, and selflessly, from Reagan to Bush, to Clinton, to Bush, to Obama, and now to Trump.
Don't tell anybody, but let me wait till a little bit after the election. I appreciate the advice. I appreciate it.
Tomorrow, you can fire only one of them. The choice is yours.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Trump or Fauci, everybody. Trump or Fauci, because Donald Trump says he's going to fire Dr. Fauci. He's also going to fire our Secretary of Defense, Esper, because Esper wouldn't go along with the whole gassing of people in Lafayette Square when they weren't doing anything, except he needed to clear a path to have a little, photo op holding a Bible that he's never read in his life. So he decided to use pepper spray and, a whole bunch of pepper balls. And then his attorney general, lied for him and said, "No, we didn't use pepper spray," until it was clear that they did. And he said, "Well, it was balls, not spray." Yeah, balls, okay. But listen, this has got to stop. It really has to stop. But you can't have both. You can't have, he's going to fire Christopher Wray at the FBI. Why? Because Christopher Wray at the FBI can't and won't prosecute the people Donald Trump wants prosecuted. And Donald Trump wants every Democrat prosecuted. You understand? He wants Ilhan Omar prosecuted. He wants AOC prosecuted. He wants Joe Biden prosecuted. He wants Barack Obama prosecuted. He wants Hunter Biden prosecuted. He wants everyone who disagrees with him prosecuted. He wants Hillary Clinton prosecuted.
That crazy Hillary, crooked Hillary came in. Here we go. Watch. Here we go. They always blame me. Whenever that chant starts, all I do is I mention her name. I didn't do anything. Well, they say it with your governor. Every time I mention the name, they say the same thing. And they say, he is inciting. I'm inciting.
He was just talking about Governor Whitmer there. And he says, and every time I mention her name, they say, I'm inside. There was a plot to kidnap her, to kill her, to actually put her on trial for treason by some ragtag group of, guys you don't want at your party ever. He also wants Ilhan Omar and AOC.
Do you think Ilhan Omar, that's one of the reasons we're going to win Minnesota, because of Ilhan Omar?
Yeah.
How the hell did she get elected? I guess she's got a little group of people. Didn't she harvest? I heard she ballot harvested, didn't she? So where is our Justice Department? She ballot. Everybody's telling me stories. They have a great writer in Minnesota, and he writes stories about her volumes, and nothing ever happens to her. Ilhan Omar, she's harvesting ballots. It's illegal, right? They have a story. So where the hell? Why aren't they looking at her? If I did that, they'd be looking at me. They'd be looking at anybody here. It's a disgrace. Honestly, it's a disgrace. And AOC, right? AOC, but didn't she steal $2 million out of her campaign? Didn't AOC steal $2 million out of her campaign? So why aren't they looking at her? Why aren't they looking at her? Justice Department. The Justice Department. They should be looking at. She stole $2 million out of her campaign. AOC +3, right?
Wrong. He's starting to sound even more demented and juvenile. Why aren't they looking at her? They would look at me. Why aren't they looking at her? I don't know what he's on. I honestly don't know, but it's very bizarre. He wants everybody that disagrees with him or anybody that would fight for a stimulus package in the middle of a COVID epidemic, a pandemic. He wants them locked up. He wants them prosecuted. Where's our Justice Department? That would be your justice, your Attorney General, Bill Barr. And you know why nobody's being prosecuted? Because they didn't break any laws. Only you did. And secretly, he's been talking to people in the White House. Again, people are giving stories. They're staying anonymous. But they're saying Donald Trump is terrified that he's going to be prosecuted. Terrified because not only is he an unindicted co-conspirator in New York for something Michael Cohen went to jail for, which dates back to 2016, where he was paying off his mistresses, signing them to NDAs and threatening them, funneling the payments through law firms to keep it on the sly. And now he's an unindicted co-conspirator in that case. But he's also under investigation as a result of the Mueller report, right? I mean, he obstructed justice 10 different times, according to Bob Mueller's report. Bob Mueller also said and testified under oath that Donald Trump was not truthful in his written answers. So that's perjury. The man is desperate to stay out of jail, and that is why he projects that everybody else must go to jail. Why aren't they looking at her and lock her up, Hillary? Hillary? You're running against Hillary? Still you're running against Hillary? Why don't you run against China, taking $14 billion out of this country to build to get electric cars by American car manufacturers, luring them over there? Why are you incentivizing in your tax bill the offshoring of profits? What are you doing? What are you actually doing for the American people? Nothing. And that is why he lies so hard. So come on, Georgia. Come on, Georgia. I mean, Stacey Abrams, if it wasn't for Governor Kemp, that's where the ballot harvesting actually was. I mean, it's amazing. Everything that they accuse people of doing, they're doing. Stacey Abrams has worked her tail off to get free and fair elections, to have a fair fight. That is the name of her organization, Fair Fight. And she was on the stump the other day.
So, Georgia, I'm here to ask a favor. Over the next few hours, until the polls close on Tuesday night, I need you to do two things. Number one, don't panic. Say, don't panic. They're about to turn up the mess. We know that intimidation is on their ballot. We know that suppression is their only weapon. But we know who we are and whose we are, and we are Georgia, and we will win. So we're not going to let them scare us out of line. We're not going to let them defeat us and trick us. We're going to drop off our absentee ballots in those boxes in those counties. We're going to call our friends. We're going to harass our neighbors. We're going to call people we owe money, people who owe us money, people we're mad at, people we broke up with. But we are calling every Georgia Democrat, and we're calling them to action. Because the time is now, men. The time is now, Georgia. We are going to get in line. We're not going to panic. So say it again. Say, don't panic.
Don't panic. Just stay in line, everybody. I love it. We're going to call people we broke up with. We're going to call people we owe money to. We're going to call people who owe us money. We're going to call people who we fought with, people we haven't talked to. And if they're, we're just going to get out the vote is what we're going to do. We're just going to get out the vote. And you know why Georgia has so many possibilities right now? Because there are 2 Senate races in Georgia against 2 currently sitting corrupt Republican senators. David Perdue, who John Ossoff just calmly said was a crook and a criminal and proved it in the debate, is on the ballot to take a Senate seat in Georgia. And Reverend Raphael Warnock, who is the head of the Ebenezer Baptist Church, MLK Jr.'s church, is on the ballot against Kelly Loeffler, who was insider trading on COVID news.
Go
for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Go get her done, Georgia.
Well, perhaps Senator Perdue would have been able to respond properly to the COVID-19 pandemic if you hadn't been fending off multiple federal investigations for insider trading. It's not just that you're a crook, Senator.
Oh.
It's that you're attacking the health of the people that you represent. You did say COVID-19 was no deadlier than the flu. You did say there would be no significant uptick in cases. All the while, you were looking after your own assets and your own portfolio, and you did vote 4 times to end protections for pre-existing conditions. 4 times. And the legislation that you tout, the PROTECT Act, it includes loopholes that specifically allow insurance companies to deny policies to Georgians with pre-existing conditions. Can you look down the camera and tell the people of this state why you voted 4 times to allow insurance companies to deny us health coverage because we may suffer from diabetes or heart disease or asthma or have cancer in remission? Why, Senator?
Oh, it's so beautiful. I mean, that's Jon Ossoff. That's why. And it's not just Jon Ossoff. Obviously, you know, you have Joe Biden on the ballot. You also have 2 Senate races in Georgia, which is why I have such high hopes for turnout in Georgia today. Because Jon Ossoff is running for a Senate seat, everybody, a Senate seat. And also, Reverend Raphael Warnock is running against Kelly Loeffler in Georgia, 2 Senate seats. That hardly ever happens. 2 Senate seats up for grabs in Georgia. Okay, in Georgia. It's important. It really is important. Your vote really, really matters in Georgia. Here's Jon Ossoff going against David Perdue. Now, Loeffler, she did the same thing, insider trading. And this was all on the news of COVID that they got that we didn't get.
This is so beneath the office of a U.S. Senator. You've continued to demean yourself throughout this campaign with your conduct. First, you were lengthening my nose in attack ads to remind everybody that I'm Jewish. Then when that didn't work, you started calling me some kind of Islamic terrorist. And then when that didn't work, you started calling me a Chinese communist. It's ridiculous. And you shouldn't do everything that your handlers in Washington tell you to, because you'll lose your soul along the way, Senator. What the people of Georgia deserve is a serious discussion of economic relief for Georgia families and how we're going to protect coverage for pre-existing conditions.
Thank you for your time.
I mean, the guy is so easy to put away and put down because he is so dirty. He is so corrupt. He is such a, you know, insider trading. And Kelly Loeffler in Georgia, she's representing her portfolio and her assets too when she does insider trading. And the president of the United States tips off those Republicans to what he really told Bob Woodward, which was, this is bad. It's going to get really bad. Short your stocks. Make sure you sell short because the economy is about to tank. Wasn't doing too good pre-COVID. Now it's really going to be off the charts. Go ahead and sell short. And these 2 senators from Georgia both took up Donald Trump on his offer, and they went about protecting their assets. And you got 2 amazing candidates. Now, in South Carolina, holy crap, South Carolina, the cradle of the Confederacy, could, at the end of today, have 2 African-American senators sitting in the U.S. Senate, one Republican and Jamie Harrison, a Democrat. Can you imagine what that would be, to have two African-American senators, one from the Republican Party, one from the Democratic Party, representing the cradle of the Confederacy, South Carolina? There's so much going on ballots across this country. There's so much. Colorado, I think you're going to see Senator John Hickenlooper. The Senate races themselves are amazing. Amazing. So these are the Senate races you want to participate in.
These are the races I'm keeping an eye out on. So, look, on potential Dem pickups, we're looking at Arizona, Colorado, Iowa, Maine, and North Carolina. Well, it looks like the GOP has a pretty good shot in Alabama. Michigan's more of a long shot. But that essentially means that Democrats will probably need to pick up 4 seats if they lose, say, the seat in Alabama to get up to that 50.
We've been telling people in the presidential election, Harry, they're going to need to be patient. It will take a while to count the votes. It may take a while to know who won. What about these key Senate races?
Yeah, so it seems to me that the best Dem pickup opportunities, in fact, the mail ballot processing, will occur fairly quickly in many of those states. So in states like Maine, like Iowa, you are essentially going to see that the ballots should, in fact, the absentee ballot should, in fact, be processed before Election Day. So we may, in fact, know about the Senate before we know about the presidency, or at least the early returns will be more indicative on the Senate side than they might be on the presidential side.
I know there's this other tier of Senate races you have at least half an eye on. What are they?
Yeah, so essentially there's this slew of potential GOP seats that the Dems may pick up. Right now they're not necessarily favored in any of them, but Alaska, Kansas, Montana, South Carolina, and Texas. And if the Democrats are able to win in any of these seats, it could, in fact, be a very, very long night for the GOP. And that's why there's sort of this long tail of potential Democratic pickups, whereby if the Dems have a really good night, they could get up 52, 53 seats. I'm not predicting that at all. I'm not predicting anything. Just saying that there is this long tail that Democrats have a real shot of having a good night if, in fact, things really do go their way.
And he's not even, I don't know why they didn't even talk about it. They didn't even talk about the 2 seats in Georgia. They didn't even talk about South Carolina there. They didn't talk about Jamie Harrison in that report. They did not talk about 2 Senate seats up for grabs in Georgia. And the balance of the power in the Senate matters to everyone. Everyone. Not just because we ended up with, Ilhan Omar's religion matters, right? Ilhan Omar, how did she get elected? She wants to tell us how to run our country, right? Because Ilhan Omar is Muslim. So her religion matters, right? Because it's not her country, because she's a Muslim. But Amy Coney Barrett, she's in a tiny little cult, and her religion doesn't matter. I mean, this is all off the hook, right? And I don't know why they're not even, getting people to understand that Georgia's got 2 Senate seats in play. Now, the Senate is really important, not just for courts, which we've all seen. 25% of the federal court seats, 25% are Trump appointees now. 25, a quarter. But to get a stimulus package out to us, can't have Mitch McConnell as the Senate Majority Leader. Kentucky, I don't even know what you're doing. I have no idea. I have no earthly idea. But nobody is talking about Mitch McConnell's Senate seat. Everybody seems pretty sure that he's, a lock, a shoo-in. He's going back. How do you allow this to happen to yourself? People are sitting here needing a stimulus package. You could have $600 enhanced unemployment checks rolling out the door, but not with Mitch McConnell. So at least if we take the majority, he'll lose his leadership position, if nothing else.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
What a disaster. I can't believe this is even happening. It puts much more pressure on me running against a guy like this, if you lost to somebody that was good, can you imagine if the concept of losing to this guy? Oh, you better get out there and vote tomorrow. I will be so angry. I'll never come back to New I'll tell Japan to bring all those plants the hell back.
Is he drunk? I mean, what is he talking about? But there he was last night saying, that he to lose to this guy. I don't want to lose to this guy. I don't. All he's got left is this massive attempted voter suppression. And I don't see. I'm looking all over the country. There are camera crews everywhere. There are camera crews in Michigan. There are camera crews in small towns in Pennsylvania. There are camera crews in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. There are camera crews in Georgia. There are camera crews in Arizona. They're all over the country. I don't see, long lines. I will say Bucks County is saying that there's a 3 to 4 hour wait time, and that's Bucks County, Pennsylvania. But I don't see long lines just in most places. I just don't know. I just don't know that people are, really enthused about voting for him. What if the polls are wrong, but the polls are wrong the other way? What if the polls are wrong because people in red states don't want to say that they're voting for Biden? Did anybody ever hear about anything like that? Does anybody live in a red state where you're afraid to say that you're voting for Biden because Donald Trump is just cruel and did a poor job as president of the United States on every issue that matters to you? From COVID, the stock market did better under Obama as far as growth, making your money grow. It's everything. I mean, listen, it was really interesting last night. Buttigieg has been all over the place, okay? He's been doing Fox News TV hits, And they keep, they know Buttigieg is smart. They know he's calm. They know he's got data. And they keep on trying to yell at him, and he's not having any of it.
You heard
nice to be with you.
Tim Murtaugh take issue with your characterization of the Biden-Obama economy. How do you answer what he said there?
I guess he thinks we're all stupid. Look, we can look this up. I mean, these are matters of simple fact. GDP growth under Obama, faster than under Trump. Look at the first 3 years. And if he's trying to sell us on third quarter GDP growth this year, if he's trying to use the 2020 economy as an example of an economic triumph, he's living on a different planet than the rest of us.
Yeah.
The only reason those numbers are what they are is because it's a partial comeback from the bloodbath that was the second quarter. We're still down, as I think anybody knows.
Well, I think anybody would
down
understand that obviously when you shut down an entire economy the way that we had to, it's going to take a while to come back.
Exactly, except that we only shut down in certain places, and that was back in March. Does everybody remember that? Donald Trump says the whole country shut down. The whole country never shut down. That was actually at issue, and it never happened. The whole country did not shut down. New York shut down. New York had to. They had 32,000 people die there. And now their positivity rate is less than 1% because they did it right. I don't know what this whole lie about the whole economy shut down. That was March and April, and it didn't shut down. There was PPP money for small business. There was $600 enhanced unemployment benefits going out to people so that they could decide for themselves whether they wanted to stay home, whether they wanted to go to work, what they wanted to do about their own health and their own safety. All right, and then after about 6 weeks of some places shutting restaurants, some places, very few, shutting down, the economy did not rebound. Again, this 33% loss in GDP. How do you explain it? And then how do you explain that if you lost, 33% of $100, and then you end up with $67? And then you multiply the $67 by 33%, which is what he wants you to do. You're still short. You haven't recovered. You're still down. That's what Pete Buttigieg is trying to explain to little Martha McCallum there. She doesn't want to hear it.
That's the amazing thing, right? We're down.
So the amazing thing, some would say is that it's come back two-thirds from how far it was down. So by any estimation, from what happened, that's a strong number. To be up 33% off the bottom, everyone understands that it's not back where it was, but we all understand the world we live in too. So we get
we understand there's an economic disaster touched off by the mismanagement of the pandemic.
Well,
but again, even pre-pandemic,
you can characterize that however you want. Anybody who was president was going to have to go through that economic dive and come back out of it.
Well, except in other countries, it didn't happen quite like that, did it?
Well, we have the most diverse country in the entire world. We have a set of complex problems in our, with our population.
So
it's a completely different environment. Absolutely not.
So we should settle for worse numbers.
He's like a laser focused on it. And he's trying to explain to her pre-pandemic, we were down 1,800 factories had closed. We were in a manufacturing recession. Obviously, that was February. Okay, that was before COVID. 5 plants. I told you the Fiat Chrysler plant, the GM plant, Lordstown closed. The Tesla moved to China. GM moved to China. Honestly, this was pre-pandemic, and they're still saying, oh, well, we can explain away these really bad numbers with COVID. Yes, but he mismanaged COVID, too, on top of that, and made it even worse. And now COVID is off the charts. It's bizarro world out there. Our cases doubled in 1 week. And all of the Stanford University, the scientists, okay, out in Stanford, they're saying that 30,000 cases in this country are attributable to Donald Trump's freaky rallies that he's having. 700 people are dead as a result of attending a Trump rally. How twisted are we going to let this get? He's hanging in there, this Buttigieg. He's hanging in there on the Fox News. He's trying really hard. He's trying really hard to get it. She just keeps on talking over him and talking over him.
Well, all I'm saying is that there's only one way to know how anyone would have handled it, and we don't have two presidents at once. Everyone's going to obviously vote.
Yeah, and that's why I prefer to
let me just read something to you,
3 years, right? Because that's a little more apples to apples.
This is what hold on a second, please. This is what the Post-Gazette editorial board said, and they just endorsed President Trump. First time they've done anything along those lines.
He just keeps trying to explain to her. It ain't a glowing review. The things that you're pulling out, the things that you're cherry picking, that is not the lay of the land. 8 million more Americans have been plunged into poverty, okay? 1,800 factories in this here country since Donald Trump has been president have closed. Automobile manufacturing did not increase in this country. It decreased in this country. The associated jobs in parts, okay, in the manufacturing of auto parts has cratered. In fact, we were in a manufacturing recession in this country prior to COVID. And now it's just compounded.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Millions of Americans have already voted, close to 100 million, and millions more will vote tomorrow. And my message to you is simple. The power to change this country is in your hands. In your hands. I don't care how hard Donald Trump tries. There's nothing that's going to stop the people of this nation from voting. Period. And when America votes, America will be heard. And America's heard. I believe the message will be loud and clear. It's time for Donald Trump to pack his bags and go home.
Oh! Bye-bye. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. Bye-bye. So here's a little side story. We're going to get exit polls in about 13 minutes. We're going to start to get exit polls in about 13 minutes. However, before we get the exit polls in about 13 minutes, I just wanted to tell you this. So Donald Trump was asked to sign the transition papers, the transition documents, right? And he didn't want to sign them. He didn't want to. And then they had to point out that it is statutorily required of the President of the United States to sign the transition documents. And then he signed them. I'm surprised he didn't run off to Bill Barr and tell Bill Barr, why are they going after me? Why don't they go after her? Why don't they go after her? Oh, my God. So he did sign transition papers, but that doesn't mean that a transition will happen. To have a transition happen, you have to go vote. And you can still do it. You can still do it. All right, Vinny in Pennsylvania.
Hey, how you doing, Randy?
Hey, Vinny, what's up?
Yeah, none. I just want to touch base that I'm a Democrat all my life. I voted for Trump in 2016, and this year I'm not making that mistake. He has totally let me down within 6 months of his election. I realized my error in my ways, and I've waited 4 years to right that wrong.
You're a real man. I got to tell you, if that's true. Are you telling me the truth?
Randy, I swear I am. I have a wife and 4 kids, and I don't want to, they badgered me for 3.5 years how I voted for this guy. I tried to convey to them that being truthful, you shouldn't, slight somebody with who they vote for, but, they definitely opened my eyes. And just the past 6 months, with all his rhetoric, all his inflammatory speeches, and now he's talking about maybe not allowing mail-in votes. I mean, that's voter suppression. I mean, if the American people don't see this.
It's all he's got. I mean, what else does he have? Does he have a record that he can run on? Does he have success, any success on anything at all? I mean, we're down 10 million jobs, almost 11 million jobs. The economy is, GDP is minus 11. What is it that he has done that he can run on? I mean, nothing. COVID's out of control. People are being hospitalized. From 1 week to the next, you add another 10,000 people in the hospital. You add another 90,000 cases every single day. 80,000 cases is a best case scenario now. And he's screaming that Fauci is the idiot. And that, I mean, this is bizarre. It's really, where are you in Pennsylvania? Like, what county are you in?
I'm in Monroe County.
And is that typically a Democratic county, or is it a Republican?
It is a Democrat, yes.
Do you happen to know how it voted in 2016?
It went Democrat.
It did. Okay, so you're just piling on. Okay,
I'm just padding the numbers because you know, like I say, it opened my eyes, and his rhetoric. You know, don't get me wrong, change was needed, but the
change is always needed.
That he brought, but
change is always needed. We always need to move forward. We always have a new century. We have a new lay of the land. We have a new economic picture. We have new workers. We have new kids. We have new schools that have to open. We have, reforms we always have to make from lessons learned. We always need change. And but I think you're a real man for telling me this today, especially. I think that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate it, Randy, and I'll let you go and carry on.
Thank you. Stephanie in Tennessee.
Hello. I'm a nervous wreck.
Yeah, me too. You're in Tennessee. Where are you?
I'm in Eastern Tennessee. I've called before.
Okay.
I'm terrified of. I mean, I didn't let people know I voted for Biden. And I'm hoping I'm not the only person.
I'm wondering if that's why the poll, if the polls are going to be wrong this year, the way that, right? Because they were only off, a couple tenths of a percentage point in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. That's how they were wrong. She did win by 3 million votes. They're saying that Joe Biden will win by 8 to 10 million votes. But if they're wrong incrementally in red states this time, that would reflect what you're saying.
Yeah, and that's the hope. I mean, Trump did build a wall just around the White House.
Can you believe that?
Never.
Now, is that wall to keep him in or out?
It's to keep people out, I'm sure. I'm absolutely positive. I've never seen that ever.
And that's another great lie of his. Mexico will pay for a wall. And we didn't get a wall. We got replacement fencing for the low bargain basement price of $8 billion, which came from the military.
Didn't Bannon steal some of that?
That's private. That was donors. Those were individuals that gave money to Bannon. He had this fake fund called Build the Wall. We Build the Wall. And it was going to Steve Bannon. Bannon is currently indicted. I mean, Bannon has to go on trial for fraud now, and he's the one that's saying that Hunter Biden that Joe Biden is correct. I mean, how many people around Donald Trump, besides for Donald Trump, who is next, have to be, I don't know, indicted or imprisoned or plead guilty to crimes before people understand that they're criminals?
Exactly. Well, he lined his pockets. He was broke. That's why he ran. That's what I've always thought, is that he was broke. That's why he ran, and look where we are now.
Well, what people are starting to explore in fact checker land is how much money, not did he, but how much did he steal from his own campaign?
Mm-hmm. And then he pinned it on the poor guy that was running it.
Oh yeah, what's his face down here in Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, how soon we forget.
Right. It's hard to. It's not about forgetting. It's keeping up with all the garbage.
It is.
It's. I mean, it happens by the second. It seems like.
I know.
It's just a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. I mean, can you imagine if anybody around Barack Obama went to jail? Anybody at all?
We'd never hear the end of it.
Oh my God.
We haven't heard the end of Hillary, and she didn't do anything.
She didn't do anything. I know. I know.
We have to do this. I hope we've done it.
Well, thanks, Stephanie. I mean, it could be very interesting to see, like a state like yours, be tight, or, it doesn't have to flip it if it's just. But I'm looking at Georgia and Florida and Arizona. I honestly want to see, because they will know tonight. And if if Florida goes blue, if Georgia goes blue, and you got 2 Senate seats on the ballot in Georgia.
Well, I'm looking at is McGrath-McConnell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what goes on in Kentucky. Honestly, I don't. Do people just not show up? Is that what happens?
I don't know. It's a lot of suppression.
Sad.
I know that.
Well, if we pick a different president and if we pick a different Congress, especially in a year that is a census year, which this is, we might have a shot at ending voter suppression. We might have a shot at more decent, fair maps in the way of, redistricting. Just saying, this matters. Everything that's on the ballot, the things you can see and the things you can't, they're on the ballot. Joe in California.
Hey, Randy, it's here. Today's the day.
Today's the day. Yes, I have.
4 years. I wanted to just say, you have said this before, you're kind of like in this as a profession. I'm married to it, and, they're able to stay, how should I say, not partisan, but, do their job professionally, and not enough gets given to the people that work in the elections that are doing that. You can't be playing favorites. They have to put up with, she has to put up with me, and so she's got to stay positive, and I just want to say thank you for all the work that they're doing. I hope everybody's safe. It's just sad that we have to do this now. There's a little boy, he died. He went to school. His last day was October 22nd, and he died yesterday, 13 years old. And we have to go to the polls and vote under these conditions. It's just horrendous that we have to live like this. I hope today is the last day that we have to see this guy on television. I pray that America gets out and votes their heart, because there's about 250,000 people's last words that said, can you imagine what came out of their mouth as they were giving their last breath, what they were thinking as they slipped away from this earth because of this buffoon and his lack of action and letting it all happen even today.
Yeah, it's really sad. I just, so many lives lost that did not have to be lost, and we know that because that's what the science tells us. That's what the scientists are running around screaming, their hair on fire. This doesn't have to be this way.
Mary had a little man, the fault.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe it.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
America is hurting. There's a sickness in the land, more than just a virus that could have been controlled long ago. Our faith is being tested. Our faith in each other, and the goodness of America. This is Joe Biden's moment. What his life prepared him for. Not an easy life, but being an American isn't about what's easy. It's about never giving up. He came from a family on hard times, overcame a crushing disability, endured the worst loss a man can imagine, and he never gave up. Joe Biden kept the faith that love is stronger than hate, that kindness is stronger than anger.
As I look across America today, hope seems elusive.
Today, it's not easy in America. Maybe it's destiny.
My answer is this.
Maybe a higher power.
You and I are part of a covenant.
But once again, the right leader is here to bring us together.
If we do our part.
This is Joe Biden's moment.
If we stand together.
This is our moment.
And the divisions of our time will give way.
This is America.
To the dreams of a brighter, better future. We can be what we are at our best. The United States of America.
The Lincoln Project is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are you ready? You ready, everybody? Let's do it! All right, so Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are still out on the road. Donald Trump is holed up in the White House where he has a war room assembled. He has taken the celebration that he planned for tonight and he's lowered it from 400 people inside indoors during a COVID pandemic to a measly 250. Can you imagine being on the list and getting notified today that you're not invited anymore to the White House? You're not invited. He's just such a douche. I don't know what else to say. I really honestly don't. But here we are with a grim scenario. The country is poorer, the country is sicker, and the country is weaker than it ever has been in modern history. Thanks, Donald. Thanks, everybody, for electing a TV reality star to the office of the presidency of the United States and a vice president who is a talk show host from radio. You don't see me running for president or vice president, do ya? And I got more to offer than Mike Pence, okay?
I'm about to take a million calls on why you should run for president.
Why I should run for
promise
president.
you, yep.
Yeah. I mean, this is unbelievable. So we have at least 7 states already topped the turnout that they had in 2016. At least 7 states. And the exit polls are now starting to come out. And so we're going to see what people voted on. We won't see like who, but you'll find out soon what people were voting on. Were they voting on COVID and a pandemic and his lack of responsibility and care, his lying to Bob Woodward, the tapes that we heard where he told Bob Woodward in February, in January, Bob, this is really bad. It's airborne. Bob, this is so deadly. If it gets the wrong person, you're done for. You're finished. But then he went and told the American people, it's going to be down to 0. It's going to disappear. It's going to magically disappear. He said it over 54 times. I have mashups of him saying that over and 54 times. I have one where he says it 36 times. Then I got another one. We kept building on it. 54 times. 54. It's going to magically disappear. Magically disappear. And now we're in this grim, dark scenario where in 7 days, in 1 week, the average caseload doubled. It doubled. And now we're seeing not 20,000 cases a day, 30,000 cases a day. Oh, no. Oh, hell no. We're now seeing 80 to 90. Friday, we had 99,000 cases in one damn day. In one damn day. And we're finding out that Donald Trump and his stupid rallies, which he's had in every nook and cranny of the reds, the swing states, every nook and cranny, that they have off the charts COVID cases. 700 people are dead that are related to the rallies that he had. 30,000 documentable cases related to the rallies that he had. I got news for you people. If you're following him around, that's a high price to pay for a hat. A hat? You would die for a hat? I got hats. Go on my website. You can have a hat. I mean, honestly, it's just so sick. It's amazing. Hospital officials in Utah, we saw Salt Lake City going, hey, we may have to do crisis triage. El Paso, Texas, they're opening a civic center in El Paso to handle the overflow because the medical facility there, they just had to add a 4th mobile morgue. A 4th mobile morgue. Northern California, they had to tell the churches there, stop holding indoor services. Stop it. And that's why you have so many people that voted by mail, that voted early, that stuck their ballots in drop boxes. 120 million Americans, 102 million Americans. I love voting in person. I love voting on election day. I love to be in line. I love to see people and get a feel for what's going on. No, you couldn't do it. Might bring it home, might bring it home. Halloween, couldn't answer the door. It's the first year I couldn't answer the door, didn't have candy for the kids. I mean, everything has been canceled because of this man. Everything. Life itself is canceled. Now we're all wrestling with what to do for Thanksgiving, right? What do we do for Thanksgiving? Does Jessica get on a plane, and does she fly from California to Florida? And if she does, can she be in the same house as Grandma, who's 90 years old? Can we all sit at a table, or should we do it outside in the wind? I mean, this is just so crazy, and this is all because of neglect and laziness and lying. It's unbelievable. And what is he talking about this morning? This morning, the current president of the United States, he was on Fox News this morning complaining again. Everything is about, complaining and whining, and I'm a victim. And I've never seen such a weak human being. I've never seen anybody weaker as a man or as a woman, really. I mean, women are stronger. We all know that. We can, pass a bowling ball out of our, but all the things that we can do that men would just pass out if they had to go through. Everybody knows that, right? Just checking. But he's the weakest man I've ever seen in my life. The thinnest skinned, weakest, lily-livered coward I've ever seen in my entire life. What does he do on election eve? He builds a wall around the White House. What does he do on election day? He goes on Fox News and complains that he's going to lose because Fox News didn't have his back. I swear to God. He was on Fox and Friends this morning telling them that Fox sucks. It didn't have his back, and it put opposing viewpoints on. It actually carried snippets of Biden's rallies. It actually carried snippets of Joe Biden debating him. He canceled the second debate. I mean, listen, this man is such a baby.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Mr. President, I know you've said on the stump before, I wouldn't have gotten into this job or ran for this job if the previous administration wasn't, in your words, so bad. And some have said that Barack Obama's come out to be the bad cop, to go after you. One of the things he said last night was he's going around spreading COVID like he's a carrier because he cares more about having these big crowds than he does keeping people safe. Do you want to respond to the former president?
Well, fortunately, he's drawing flies. He's not getting anybody to go listen to him too much. Actually, Fox puts him on more than anybody else, which is sort of shocking to me because Fox has changed a lot. And somebody said, what's the biggest difference between this and 4 years ago? And I say Fox. It's much different. You still have great people. But you're three of them.
But Mr. President, can I just say one thing? What they try to do with Fox
in terms of
but
politics.
We just want to show both. Unlike the other networks, they were trying to show both sides. So, hey, here's President Trump live, here's Joe Biden live. Because we feel it's a responsibility to sell.
We report, they decide.
Yeah, right. So I don't think it's an endorsement of anybody. But go ahead. When President Obama speaks, does he get under your skin? They say
in the old days, they
he's the
wouldn't
reason.
Put, they wouldn't put Sleepy Joe Biden on every time he opened his mouth. They had other networks for that, frankly. Huh. And it was run, it's a much different operation. I'm just telling you, it's much different. And, right. And you have great people when you have Sean and you have Laura and you have, yourselves and you have some incredible
Ainsley.
people.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, Tucker's been great. I think you really have incredible people, but it's much different. I could name some of your side players and, you had a period of time, I think you're still doing it, but you had Democrats on more than you had Republicans.
That is amazing that she might be his favorite woman on the planet and he couldn't remember her name.
Oh, Ainsley Airhead. Yeah, no, I mean, this was the president this morning on Election Day complaining that the reason why he's going to lose is because Fox sucks. And he went on Fox News. You know, he was supposed to be on early this morning. He kept them waiting for almost an hour. He blew through his booking time, kept them waiting for almost an hour, and then he gets on and he decides to tell them that they suck, and that is why he's going to lose today. Because Fox News sucked. They gave airtime to the former vice president of the United States who's running for president. They gave airtime to him. This man is so thin-skinned. He is such a toddler. He is such a poor human. He's just a weak man. He's everything that he says, you know, that others are like triggered. Everything triggers him. Everything. Everybody's against him. All he ever does is complain about the people that don't agree with him, the people that are against him, the people that are, out to get him. Barack Obama spied on him, you know. This is how he started. Barack Obama spied. This man is a racist birther. He's always been a racist. He refused to rent his apartments to black people even after his family was cited for violating, the equal opportunity laws in New York State, right? He did it again. Honestly, he put out a full-page ad calling for the death of the Central Park Five, who were exonerated after DNA became a thing. And then he still called for the death penalty. He was the original birther. Oh, you won't believe what we're finding. We sent people to Hawaii. He sent nobody to Hawaii, okay? Nobody. You won't believe what we're finding. You just won't believe it. Yeah, because no, it's not believable. Same thing with Hunter Biden. He calls people pedophiles, which is very interesting considering how many pictures there are of him dancing and hanging out and whispering in the ear of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, who's on trial now for being a recruiter of young underage girls for pedophilia. And then, where is his, he had an army of poll watchers. They were going to be out there, right? He's had an army. Everybody's out there. There's nobody out there. Nobody out there. There are hardly any lines. I don't know what that means. We'll find out. We're going to find out. Christine in Arizona.
Oh, hi. Oh, my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm sorry. I'll calm down. I'll calm down. I'm sorry.
All right.
First-time caller, first-time podcast buyer. Anyway, I just wanted to share with something that just happened. I got a little notification that I got something from Amazon. So I went out to the porch, and there was this white bag there. And I was like, oh, what's that? So I wand it, too, like I wand everything with that UVA wand. Anyway, I got to calm down. So there's a letter in there saying, "Hi neighbor, I won't read the whole thing. It's been a tough year with COVID and the election, and I just want you to know that to keep the faith, hope, and love." And in the bag was some homemade cookies, a candle, roll of toilet paper, candy cane with the history of the candy cane. I just thought that was so sweet, and she gave her name and number to call her, and just
What was it for? Why? What is that for?
Well, it was just it was just a random bag saying "Hi neighbor."
Oh wow!
And I was very touched. That didn't touch your soul. I don't know, nothing will. She's just reaching out and telling people that she's there in the neighborhood on our street to say that it's just been an awful year or 4 years, and with COVID and everything happening.
This year, this 2020 thing, this has been the worst year in the history of years. Honestly, it's been just so terrible. It is. And it's not just COVID. It's not just COVID. It's listening to this. It's living through this. It's seeing the law breaking and the lack of care and the lack of concern and the lack of governance. People need the stimulus money and they do nothing about it, but they fast track a freaking judge who's part of a little cult. I mean, honestly, the threats to arrest everybody, the complaining and the whining while we're out here trying to do this thing with COVID everywhere, and we're doing it. And he's complaining and whining as if this has been the worst year. Just the worst.
It has been, darling. We just got to hang in there. He's a monster.
Yes.
And I think he really should be charged with crimes against humanity. I really do.
Honestly, he will be charged with things as soon as he's out of this, bubble that protects him. He will be charged. There's no question. He's already an unindicted co-conspirator in New York State, okay? So Joe Biden, just so you know, Joe Biden has pledged that he will not pardon Donald Trump, okay, should he become president. And even if he did, that does not protect him from state crimes. And I'll just bet you anything that the Attorney General in New York, Letitia James, has all the paperwork completed and sitting on her desk, ready to go on January 21st. When the President of the United States is no longer the President of the United States and he is just a civilian, just a citizen, a criminal citizen that needs to be put on trial.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
Everything is at stake. Our health, our economy, our children's futures. A woman's right to make decisions about her own body. A criminal justice system that treats all people with dignity and equally under the law. A Supreme Court that advances the legacy of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That lives up to the phrase above its entrance, equal justice under law. The kind of country we want to be. That's what's at stake. It is all on the line.
Okay, so that was Kamala, and obviously everything is at stake. Who we are, what we'll be, whether or not we have to board up next election, whether or not we're going to be a more hateful country or a more divided country or a cursing country or a country that seriously can't stand each other, based on their love for a cult leader, for a demagogue, for a lying sack of, that's all he does is lie because he has no record that is worthy. And then, a guy who goes on Fox and Friends and trashes her.
He's got a vice president who's further left than Bernie Sanders, who is not a particularly good person.
What?
And she would be, I think, a terrible first representative if she became the first woman president. I think it would be a terrible thing for a country. I think it would be a terrible thing for women.
What? This is his closing argument that he made this morning on Fox. Kamala is a bad person. Kamala is a terrible person. It would be bad for women to have the first African-American / Indian woman as vice president of the United States. It would be bad for women. I don't even know what he's talking. Everything bothers him. Everything bothers him. Everybody's got to be locked up. The media is the enemy. The enemy. Fact checkers are the enemy of the people, And then he just downshifts into, I can't believe this is happening to me. I can't believe I'm losing to this guy. I can't believe it. Honest. All right. There are some exit polls. The first polls will close at 6 o'clock Eastern time. It is 5:35 Eastern time right now. At 6 o'clock, Indiana and Kentucky, which will not tell us a whole hell of a lot, but Mitch McConnell is on the ballot in Kentucky, as you know. So Kentucky will close at 6 p.m., which is just about a half an hour, a little less than a half an hour from now. At 7 o'clock, we will get Florida and Georgia will close, right? Florida and Georgia are expected to count their ballots faster than most of the swing states, especially Florida, because they've been pre-counting all of the early ballots. Now, like I said, this morning I went and checked to make sure my mom's ballot was counted, that my ballot was counted, Howard's ballot was counted, and they're counted. They are counted. It shows that they sent you the ballot, shows that they received your ballot back. It shows that your ballot is counted now, right? And so at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we will know something about Florida. Now, I will tell you that the Biden campaign is saying that Florida is going to be tough. It's going to be a heavy lift. So they must have some internal polling or some data that, we don't have, that the little people don't have. And this is what this is. This is, we're about the people, the little people. That's who we are. Okay. So they must know something about Florida. Now, only part of Florida will close at 7 Eastern time. The Panhandle, which is very Republican, up north, near there's cities up there called Floribama on the Alabama-Florida border. They don't close till 8 o'clock because they are they're open another hour because it's Central Time. Georgia has the 2 competitive Senate races I've been telling you about all day. I'm really excited to see what goes on in Georgia. I would love to see Georgia flip. There was so much on the ballot for Georgians. It was plus they got ripped off of Stacey Abrams last time because of Kemp being the Secretary of State, meaning the gatekeeper of the ballots, while he was on the ballot running for governor. And Stacey Abrams just lost by ever so slightly. So I'm interested in Georgia. Of course, you got the 2 Senate races. You got John Ossoff, who's running against David Perdue, who's a crook. And you got Reverend Raphael Warnock, who's running against Kelly Loeffler, who is also an insider trader. She was a special appointment. Okay, she was a quick pick because Isaacson retired. So we'll get that at 7 o'clock. And then South Carolina, they're expected to count all their votes tonight, and that is the Jamie Harrison race against Lindsey Graham. So around 7 o'clock, it'll start to get kind of interesting. At 7:30, North Carolina and Ohio. Now, they will continue to accept mail-in ballots for a week. So we might not know for a week who won Ohio. I don't know. It just depends on, percentages and who voted and blah, blah, blah. And North Carolina also has one of the most important Senate races on it, okay? That's the race of Cal Cunningham and Senator Tom Tillis, also an insider trader. I mean, you start to see a pattern here, don't you? With the, yeah, okay. And then at 8 o'clock, we get the Panhandle of Florida. That closes. But at 8 o'clock, you got 238 electoral college votes in 21 states and Washington, D.C. So 8 o'clock is a key moment. A key moment. Now, of course, that includes Pennsylvania. But Pennsylvania, they won't start counting in 7 counties in Pennsylvania until tomorrow. So... But at 8 o'clock, you get Alabama, you get the rest of Florida, Connecticut, Delaware, Illinois, Kansas, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Jersey, North Dakota, Oklahoma. Again, Pennsylvania, but you may or may not know, Rhode Island, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, and D.C. Now, Maine, remember you got Susan Collins running against Sarah Gideon in Maine. So that'll be interesting to see if Susan Collins is finally defeated by a Democrat in Maine, and that'll be at 8 o'clock. And then you have the race in Michigan, the Senate race in Michigan, Gary Peters, the Democrat. So that'll be an important one. And then Texas, John Cornyn, 8:30, you get North Dakota, South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas. And then 9 o'clock, 14 more states. And at 9 o'clock, you'll know if John Hickenlooper actually gets a Senate seat. You'll know if Arizona goes blue. So
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
But you deal with people that are very deceptive, but they'll go, Mr. President, tell me, who's the country that's most difficult to deal with? Is it Russia? Is it China? Is it North Korea? Sir, is it North Korea? And I go, no, well, by far, the most difficult country to deal with is the U.S. It's not even close.
Oh,
and they all say, you got to be kidding. And I say, no, I'm actually probably not kidding. No, we have very, very deceptive people. We have some people that, I think they're sick in some ways, like an Adam Schiff. I think Adam Schiff is a sick person.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. All right. Exit polls, we're starting to see them now. Voters seem to be divided over the top issues in their vote for president. One third called the economy the most critical issue. 1 in 5 cited racial inequality. 1 in 6 coronavirus as most important to their vote. 1 in 10 health care policy. 1 in 10 health care policy. Uh-oh. Crime and violence. 1 in 10. I think these are the same people. More cited the economy than coronavirus as their most important issue in choosing a candidate. A narrow majority said the nation's priority now should be containing the coronavirus over rebuilding the economy. A narrow majority beat back the virus, then worry about the economy. A narrow majority. So there's a little sliver of hope there. 7 in 10 view wearing a face mask in public as a responsibility more than a personal choice. Donald Trump supporters call the economy their top issue. That was about 6 in 10 of his supporters, 60%. Then coronavirus. Only 5% of Trump voters are worried about the virus. Vice President Joe Biden's supporters said coronavirus was more important than the economy. Half of our voters in the United States today say the economy is in bad shape. 40% say it's better than it was 4 years ago. Oh, my God. 20% said it's worse. But a majority said that they are personally experiencing financial hardship as a result of coronavirus. Something tells me the Trump voters can't put 2 and 2 together. They just can't. This is just not shocking to me. But they found the experience of casting their ballots to be an easy one if they were white. If they were white. 75% of white voters said it was easy peasy to vote. 50% of black voters felt the same way. The country is completely divided about whether or not our ballots will be fairly counted. Thanks, Trump. Very few made up their minds in the final days of this election. Only 4% were undecided. So, every time you were watching TV and they said, oh, we found some undecided voters, bullcrap, and which is what we thought anyway. Only 4% of all of these voters, and we've topped 2016 now, all of the voters, only 4% were undecided in the final week of the campaign. 75% said they made up their mind before September. Very high level of new voter participation. About 1 in 8 said that 2020 was the first year they ever voted. That is on par with 2008, the year Barack Obama won. So there's some bizarre news in there about Trump voters and how they... So half of the country says, yes, I'm being impacted poorly by this virus, but Trump voters... don't worry about the virus. Wow, that's That's interesting, isn't it? Doesn't that freak you out? Like they just can't put, hey, if we beat back the virus, we could have a full and great. Although pre-pandemic, I got to say, Trump was losing. The manufacturing sector was in recession. All right, Jim in St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey, Randy, how are you?
Oh, your phone is funky.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. How's that? Is that better?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. But anyhow, I work for ABF Freight.
Oh, you're a driver. Okay.
I am a driver. Excuse me. And I went to the polls 2 weeks ago, and I voted early. So, and they're doing about 1,800, 2,000 people here in Missouri a day in St. Charles.
Wow.
But the polls where my family had went are about an hour to 2 hour wait, which isn't bad, and they've done it. And I talked to you earlier, several months ago about the dogs, the police dogs and all that stuff, finding the drugs that's coming across the borders and everything.
Yeah, we agree.
So, but anyway.
Who'd you vote for?
I voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I did. I did a straight Democratic ticket, and it's looking pretty good here in Missouri.
You're kidding.
No, yeah, I think it's within like 1%, so it's an error of margin.
Wow.
Or margin of error, or however the hell you say it.
Margin of error, yeah.
Yeah.
The cone of uncertainty.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyhow, I am a driver, and I deliver to the hospitals. I deliver to the research labs.
Oh.
I deliver, the temporary morgues.
Mm.
And when you go behind the VA system, or the VA hospital there at Grand and Sarah, they have a Arctic ice chest box. They had for the veterans to be put in as they passed away from coronavirus.
Oh, good God.
Yeah. It's totally sad. I mean, people need to realize the deficiency in this Trump thing, whatever's going on here with him or them. It's unreal. And when you get behind the scenes and you see the reality of our veterans are laying in a 30-foot ice chest.
Oh, good God.
Yes, and it's there. And I will take a picture, and I will send it.
Oh,
and
God, no, I
won't send it to you.
Yeah,
but,
I checked out with the photographic evidence of the death after New York, and I saw the mass graves in Potter's Field, is what we call it.
Sure.
I mean, that was just horrendous. And that people are saying the economy is more important than the fact that America has veterans on ice in makeshift morgue trucks, and that people are being buried in mass graves in New York. I can't figure out where this country went crazy. When did they literally go bat crap crazy?
So I have 3 of my siblings that are union members that are total Trump supporters.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, Randy.
Why do you think they put Amy Coney Barrett on the Supreme Court? I mean, I think people think it's, because of the women's issue and blah. No, she's a corporatist, just like the rest of them are.
Yeah.
And they are there to do more decisions like the Janus decision, which breaks up unions so the people won't put up such a fuss about wages.
Every month, every year, Missouri is in the Let's Fight for Our Union, Proposition A. put the union thing forefront. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's a whole thing. But it's I just am at my wit's end with everything.
Yeah. Well, thank you for voting for Biden and for being in Missouri and for being a driver and for the horrific update. All right. We'll know something tonight. We will. We'll know something. I don't know how much. Come on, Georgia. Come on, Florida. Come on, Arizona.